My dear friends, when I say focus on yourself, it's not a slogan. It's a sacred journey. Most of us are so busy trying to keep everyone happy that we forget what real happiness feels like. We wake up in the morning, and the first thing we think about is who might be upset with us, who we need to impress, or how we can fit into someone else's world. But the truth is, when you keep pouring into everyone else's cup, your own cup runs dry, and you cannot give love from an empty heart. Let me tell you a simple story. A young woman once came to me and said, "I'm exhausted. I try to be there for everyone, my friends, my family, my colleagues, but no one seems to be there for me." I looked at her and said gently, "My dear, you are watering everyone's garden except your own. How will your flowers ever bloom?" She looked down and tears rolled down her face, because deep down, she knew she had been so focused on being someone for everyone that she forgot to be someone for herself. Think about it. How often do we ignore our own needs just to keep the peace? How many times have we said yes when our hearts scream no? How many times have we smiled when we wanted to cry, listened when we wanted to rest, and showed up for others when no one showed up for us? Focusing on yourself doesn't mean becoming selfish. It means becoming self-aware. It means realizing that your peace, your energy, and your growth matter too. Every morning, when the sun rises, it doesn't ask permission to shine. It doesn't dim its light because someone might find it too bright. It simply rises because that's its purpose. You too have a purpose, not to live according to others' opinions, but to live according to your own truth. Don't shrink yourself to make others comfortable. Don't silence your dreams just because others are too afraid to chase theirs. You were not born to live a small life. You were born to live a meaningful one. Let's take a daily life example. Imagine a mother who wakes up early, makes breakfast, takes care of her children, manages work, cleans the house, and sleeps late, only to wake up and do it all again. Somewhere in that routine, she forgets what she loves. Maybe she loved painting, maybe dancing, maybe writing, but she stopped because life became about everyone else. If she takes even 30 minutes a day to focus on herself, to breathe, to read, to do something she loves, she'll not only feel more alive, but she'll also be able to give more love to her family. Because a fulfilled woman doesn't burn out, she blossoms. Focusing on yourself means learning to say, "I matter too." It means setting boundaries, not walls. Boundaries protect your peace. Walls shut people out. Boundaries tell others where your respect begins and where their demands end. Sometimes, people won't like it when you start focusing on yourself. They will call you distant. They will say you've changed. And you know what? That's okay, because growth is change. You're not the same person who tolerated everything. You're the person who now values your time, your energy, and your worth. We live in a time where we compare our lives to others on screens. We scroll and think, "She's more beautiful, he's more successful, their life looks perfect." But my dear, remember, you can't compare your behind the scenes to someone else's highlight reel. Focus on your journey. Water your own plant. Even if it takes time, even if others bloom before you, your time will come. Flowers don't compete with each other, they just bloom in their season. There's a famous saying, You can't pour from an empty cup. When you take care of your mental, emotional, and physical health, you're not being selfish, you're being wise. Eat well, sleep enough, take breaks, walk in nature, meditate, pray, read something inspiring, spend time with people who uplift you. These small acts of self-focus build your strength quietly. And one day, people will ask you, how do you stay so peaceful? You'll smile and say, because I stopped fighting battles that were never mine. Sometimes, the best thing you can do for others is to focus on yourself. When you become calm, others feel safe around you. When you're confident, others are inspired by you. When you live authentically, others find the courage to do the same. You see, focusing on yourself creates a ripple effect. It doesn't just change your life, it changes everyone connected to you. Your peace becomes their peace. Your strength becomes their example. Think of a tree. When its roots are strong, it can face any storm. But if the roots are weak, even a soft wind can break it. Focusing on yourself is like strengthening your roots. Through prayer, through patience, through self-reflection, through love, so that when storms come, and they will, you won't break. You'll bend and rise again. You'll say, this storm is tough, but so am I. And remember, focusing on yourself doesn't mean ignoring others. It means loving them from a place of wholeness instead of emptiness. It means helping others not because you feel obligated, but because you truly want to. It means giving from abundance, not from exhaustion. You become a light that shines naturally, not one that flickers out trying to please everyone. So, from today, take a deep breath and whisper to yourself, I choose me. Choose peace over pressure. Choose healing over hurry. Choose growth over guilt. Choose self-love over self-neglect. Because when you focus on yourself, you don't lose people, you lose the ones who never deserved you. And in that space, you find something far greater, your purpose, your power, your peace. You are not here to live in pieces, you are here to live in peace. And that begins when you make the brave, beautiful choice to focus on yourself. When I say let them go, it may sound simple, but it's one of the hardest lessons you'll ever learn in life. We hold on to people not because they're right for us, but because we're afraid to face life without them. We hold on to memories, to conversations, to promises, to what could have been. But sometimes, holding on is what hurts us the most. The truth is, not everyone who walks into your life is meant to stay forever. Some come to teach you, some come to test you, and some come to awaken you. And when their part in your story is over, you must have the courage to close the chapter, not with anger, but with peace. There was once a woman who loved deeply. She gave her heart, her time, and her energy to someone she thought would stay forever. But one day, he left without a reason, and her world fell apart. Days turned into weeks, and she found herself trapped in endless questions. Why did this happen? Was I not enough? Could I have done something differently? One evening, while sitting alone on her balcony, she saw a tree shedding its leaves. The leaves danced beautifully in the air before touching the ground. In that quiet moment, she realized maybe letting go is not the end. Maybe it's just a sign of new beginnings. Just like that tree, she too had to shed what no longer served her, so she could grow again. My dear, Letting go doesn't mean you stop caring. It doesn't mean you erase your memories or pretend it never mattered. It means you stop carrying the pain. You stop replaying what broke you. You stop chasing answers from people who were never capable of giving them. You make peace with the fact that some stories don't have happy endings, but they have meaningful lessons. You may lose a person, but you gain wisdom. You may lose a relationship, but you gain strength. You may lose something familiar, but you gain space for something better. Think about it. When you hold on to something too tightly, your hands are not free to receive anything new. Life cannot pour blessings into closed fists. The universe works in a divine rhythm. What is meant for you will never need to be forced, and what is not meant for you will never stay, no matter how tightly you hold on. Letting go is not losing, it's trusting. Trusting that what's ahead is far greater than what's behind. In daily life, we often experience this in small ways. A friend stops calling, a colleague you trusted betrays you, a family member misunderstands you, a dream you had doesn't work out. And what do? We dwell, we overthink, we cry, we question, we cling to what's already gone. But imagine if we looked at it differently. Imagine if we said, "This person's chapter in my life was beautiful, but now it's time to move forward." Because holding on to what's gone is like reading the same page again and again. You'll never discover the rest of your story. One of the biggest lies we tell ourselves is that letting go means we lost. No, my dear. Letting go means you are brave. It means you choose peace over pain. It means you respect yourself enough to walk away from what doesn't value you. It takes far more strength to release than to cling. Anyone can hold on, but only the wise know when it's time to let go. Letting go also means forgiving. Forgiving doesn't mean what happened was okay. It means you're no longer allowing it to control you. It means you refuse to live as a prisoner of the past. You can't start a new life chapter if you keep reading the old one filled with hurt. Forgiveness is not about them, it's about you. You forgive because you deserve peace. You let go because your heart deserves rest. Think of a balloon. When a child holds it tightly, the string cuts into their hand. The more they grip it, the more it hurts. But when they finally release it, the balloon rises free and light. That's what happens when you let go. You rise too. Your spirit lifts, your heart feels lighter, and you finally breathe again. Sometimes the best prayer you can say is, "God, take what's not meant for me, even if I want it badly." Because what's truly meant for you will never make you beg, never make you lose yourself, never make you feel unworthy. In your journey, people will come and go. Some will love you genuinely, others will teach you through pain. Some will walk beside you for a lifetime, others for just a season. But every person plays a role in your growth. Be thankful even for those who left, because they made space for you to find yourself again. Don't curse the endings. They are often disguised beginnings. You see, when you let go, something magical happens. You start to rediscover your own strength. You start to see life not as a punishment, but as a lesson. You realize that closure is not something they give you, it's something you create for yourself. You learn to say, "I loved, I tried, I gave my best. Now I let go," and that's one of the most powerful statements a person can make. Don't chase what's leaving. Don't beg for what's fading. Don't reopen doors that God has already closed. Some people were never meant to walk the next part of your journey with you, and that's perfectly okay. You are not losing them, you are simply returning to yourself. You are reclaiming your peace, your dignity, and your purpose. One day, you will look back and smile. You'll thank life for removing what you once cried for. You'll realize that what felt like an ending was actually a redirection, leading you to something far more beautiful. You'll see that your heart didn't break to punish you, but to open space for a deeper kind of love, the love you have for yourself. So today, let them go, the ones who drained your energy, the ones who couldn't see your worth, the ones who left without explanation. Don't chase closure from closed hearts. Don't run after people who made peace with your absence. Walk away gracefully, not with bitterness, but with gratitude. Because every goodbye carries a hidden gift. The freedom to grow, to heal, and to rise stronger than before. When you let go, you don't lose control, you gain peace. You don't lose love, you make room for real love. You don't lose your story, you simply turn the page. And the next chapter, my dear, will be worth the wait. Silence. Such a simple word, yet it holds a depth that few truly understand. In a world where everyone is shouting to be heard, posting to be seen, and rushing to be noticed, silence has become rare and therefore powerful. When I say silence is power, I don't mean the kind of silence that hides pain or fear. I mean the silence that speaks of maturity, self-control, and wisdom. The silence that doesn't need to defend itself because truth defends it. The silence that doesn't need to explain because peace has already answered. There was once a woman who worked in an office where people constantly gossiped about her. They twisted her words, misread her intentions, and judged her for things she never did. Her friends advised her, "Say something! Defend yourself!" But she chose silence. Days passed and eventually, the truth revealed itself, not through her words, but through her actions. Her consistency, her kindness, her patience spoke louder than any argument could. And those who once doubted her began to respect her even more. That is the quiet power of silence. It doesn't need noise to prove its strength. Silence is not weakness, it's emotional intelligence. When you respond to every insult, every rumor, every provocation, you give away your peace. But when you stay silent, you rise above it. You take back control. The wise understand that not every battle deserves your voice, and not every situation deserves your energy. Sometimes silence is your loudest roar, a roar that says, "I know who I am, and I don't need to prove it to anyone." Let me give you a small daily life example. Imagine a woman arguing with someone who keeps misunderstanding her. The more she explains, the more twisted her words become. Finally, she stops, not because she has no answer, but because she knows her peace is more valuable than being right. That moment of silence is her strength. She may seem quiet on the outside, but within her, there is calm, clarity, and confidence. That kind of silence isn't empty, it's full of understanding. Silence also teaches patience. When we are silent, we learn to listen, not just to others, but to ourselves. We hear the voice of our intuition, the whisper of our soul, the guidance of something higher. Most people miss this because their minds are too loud. They fill every quiet moment with noise, social media distractions, endless talking, because silence feels uncomfortable. But those who embrace it discover that silence is not emptiness, it's connection. It's where strength is rebuilt and peace is restored. Think about nature. The sun rises without a sound. The flowers bloom quietly. The stars shine without announcing their presence. Yet they touch hearts, move souls, and inspire the world. Real power never needs to shout. It simply is. That's how you must live too. You don't have to prove your worth to anyone by arguing or shouting. Just live in a way that your peace and actions speak for you. When people see how calm you remain amid chaos, they'll wonder where your power comes from. And that power, my dear, comes from silence. There will be times when people will misjudge you, misunderstand you, or mistreat you. Your natural reaction will be to fight back, to defend, to explain, to justify. But remember, silence doesn't mean you agree. It means you refuse to lower your energy. You can't argue with ignorance and expect peace. You can't fight every rumor and expect rest. Sometimes walking away silently is the greatest display of dignity. Let time and truth do the talking for you. There's a beautiful saying, don't respond to every bark when you're walking with purpose. Dogs bark not because the traveler is wrong, but because the traveler is moving. The noise always comes when you're progressing. Stay focused, stay silent. Let your results make the noise. When you achieve your goals, when your peace glows brighter than their gossip, the same people who doubted you will applaud you. Not because you convinced them, but because silence made them see. Silence is also a healer. When you are hurt, don't rush to speak. Words spoken in anger often become wounds that take years to heal. Sit in silence instead. Cry if you must, pray if you can, but don't let your emotions speak for you. Let silence hold you until your heart is steady again. Then, when you do speak, your words will come from wisdom, not from wounds. Let me tell you something profound. Silence is not empty. It's full of answers. It reveals who truly cares, who truly listens, and who truly understands you. When you become silent, you'll notice who checks on you and who doesn't. You'll see who values your presence beyond your voice. Silence separates the genuine from the temporary. It protects you from unnecessary chaos and connects you to your inner peace. In relationships, too, silence can be sacred. Every couple fights, every friendship has misunderstandings. But the real test is whether you can sit in silence and still feel peace. Love that survives silence is love that's real, because words can decorate a connection, but silence reveals its depth. Sometimes, you'll find that silence hurts. When someone you love stops speaking, when you're left with unanswered questions, when your heart wants closure but only gets quiet, in those moments, remember, silence doesn't always mean absence. It can mean reflection, growth, or divine protection. Maybe God is removing noise from your life so you can hear what truly matters. Maybe the silence you're facing is teaching you to rely not on others' words, but on your own strength. And when you master the art of silence, you become unshakable. People may try to provoke you, but they'll fail. They may try to bring you down, but they'll tire out. Because silence is your armor. It confuses negativity, disarms anger, and creates mystery. The world cannot understand a person who remains calm in chaos, and that's where your power lies. So, the next time someone questions your worth, don't argue, just smile. The next time someone leaves you without explanation, don't chase, just breathe. The next time life feels noisy, don't panic, just sit in silence and listen. Because silence will tell you everything words cannot. There's a certain beauty in not reacting, in letting peace do the talking, in allowing life to unfold without forcing outcomes. Your silence says, I am grounded, I am guided, I am enough. You don't need to speak loudly to prove your strength. The calmness in your heart already says it all. So embrace your silence, not as an escape, but as empowerment. Let it guard your peace, guide your actions, and grow your wisdom. For in a noisy world, the quiet ones are the strongest. And the day you master your silence is the day you truly master yourself. Heal yourself first. These 3 words may sound simple, but within them lies the key to a peaceful, powerful, and purposeful life. You see, so many people try to fix the world while they themselves are falling apart inside. They try to love others when they haven't yet learned how to love themselves. They give advice they don't live by, offer comfort they never receive, and wear smiles to hide their pain. But the truth is, you cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot heal others while you are still bleeding. You cannot be the light for someone else when your own flame is flickering in the wind. There was once a woman who spent her entire life taking care of everyone around her. Her children, her parents, her friends, even her neighbors. She would stay up late to listen to their problems, cook meals for those who were struggling, lend money, and sacrifice her rest for others' comfort. But one day she broke down, not because the world was cruel, but because she had forgotten to take care of herself. She was so busy being everyone's strength that she forgot to be her own. When she finally began to rest, to breathe, to sit quietly with her emotions, she realized healing begins when you stop rushing and start listening to your own soul. Healing yourself first is not selfishness, it's self-respect. It means understanding that your peace is your responsibility. Too often, we wait for someone else to make us feel better, a friend, a lover, a family member. But healing doesn't come from outside, it grows within. Others can comfort you, yes, but they cannot complete you. That's something only you can do. Healing starts when you decide to stop blaming others for your pain and start taking responsibility for your peace. Let's take a simple example from daily life. Imagine you cut your hand deeply. You wouldn't ignore it and go about your day as if nothing happened, right? You'd clean the wound, apply medicine, and let it rest. You wouldn't keep touching it or pretending it doesn't hurt, because that would only make it worse. Emotional wounds are no different. Yet, many of us keep pretending we're fine when we're not. We smile while our hearts are bleeding. We distract ourselves instead of dealing with our pain. But healing begins when you stop covering your wounds with temporary happiness and start giving them the care they need. Healing yourself also means forgiving yourself. How many of us keep punishing ourselves for mistakes we made long ago? We replay them in our minds, wishing we could go back and change things. But healing isn't about rewriting the past, it's about learning from it. You did the best you could with the knowledge you had at that time. Now that you know better, you can do better. Don't carry guilt like a burden, carry it like a teacher. Every scar has a story, and every story has strength hidden in it. Sometimes healing also means walking away from people who constantly hurt you, from environments that drain you, from habits that destroy your peace. It takes courage to say, I deserve better. But remember, you cannot heal in the same place that broke you. If a flower doesn't bloom, you don't blame the flower, you change its environment. Similarly, if your peace isn't growing where you are, maybe it's time to move towards where your soul feels safe. And healing takes time, real time. There's no shortcut to peace, no instant medicine for heartbreak, no magic cure for trauma. Just as a broken bone needs time to grow strong again, your heart needs time too. Don't rush it. Some days you'll feel strong, other days you'll feel weak again. That's okay. Healing isn't a straight line, it's a dance between progress and pain, between falling and rising again. What matters is that you don't stop. You keep choosing yourself every single day. Think about a rainy day. The sky looks dark, the streets are wet, and everything feels gloomy. But you know that after the rain, the air will feel fresher, and the earth will look greener. Healing is just like that. The pain may pour down on you like rain, but it washes away the dust of the past. It cleans your soul. It refreshes your heart. One day, you'll wake up and realize you're no longer sad about what broke you. You'll smile again, not because everything is perfect, but because you've made peace with imperfection. Many people try to heal by escaping through distractions, overworking, or constantly keeping busy. But real healing happens in stillness. It happens when you sit quietly and feel every emotion instead of avoiding it. It happens when you ask yourself, what lesson is this pain trying to teach me? Because pain, when understood, becomes wisdom. Every heartbreak teaches you self-worth. Every disappointment teaches you patience. Every ending teaches you resilience. And every silence teaches you strength. Another daily example, think of a mother bird teaching her baby to fly. The baby bird falls many times, flaps its wings, gets hurt, and tries again. But the mother doesn't rush the process. She watches patiently because she knows the bird must build its own strength to soar. In the same way, your healing may feel slow, but every time you fall and rise again, your soul grows stronger. One day, you'll look back and thank your struggles because they taught you how to fly without fear. And here's something important. Healing doesn't mean forgetting. It means remembering without pain. It means you can think of the past and smile because it no longer controls you. It means you can forgive those who hurt you, not for them, but for yourself. Because forgiveness is the final stage of healing. It's saying, you no longer have power over my peace. When you forgive, you release yourself. You let go of the weight you've been carrying for far too long. So, my dear, heal yourself first. Take time for yourself. Read, rest, pray, cry, laugh. Whatever your soul needs. Don't feel guilty for taking care of yourself. You deserve the same love and kindness you've always given to others. You deserve to be your own home, your own comfort, your own peace. Because when you heal yourself, you don't just change your life, you change the world around you. A healed woman becomes a light for others. Her calm energy spreads peace. Her confidence inspires. Her love heals those she touches. And it all begins when she looks in the mirror and says, I choose to heal. So, breathe deeply. Let the past go, trust the process. And remember, healing isn't about becoming who you were before you got hurt. It's about becoming someone stronger, wiser, and more compassionate because of it. You are not broken, my dear. You are becoming whole again. And that journey, that quiet, sacred, powerful journey, begins when you decide to heal yourself first. Don't seek validation, because the moment you start living for approval, you stop living for truth. This is one of the most freeing and yet most difficult lessons in life. From the time we are children, we are taught to look outside ourselves for acceptance. We look for the teacher's praise, the friend's approval, the parents' nod, the partner's appreciation. Slowly, we become conditioned to believe that our worth depends on what others think of us. But what if one day those same people stop clapping? What if they stop noticing? Does your worth disappear with their applause? Of course not. Real confidence begins when you stop depending on validation and start believing in your own value. Imagine this. A young woman spends hours getting ready before a party. She wants to look perfect, not because she loves herself, but because she fears judgment. All night, she wonders if people like her outfit, if they think she's beautiful enough, funny enough, good enough. When she gets home, she's exhausted, not from the party, but from the constant performance. The truth is, she never really lived that night. She played a role. And that's what seeking validation does. It makes you an actor in your own life. You stop being real. You start being what others want to see. But when you live authentically, when you stop performing for approval, something magical happens. You start to feel peace. You start to breathe freely. You stop editing yourself to fit into others' expectations. You realize that you don't need to impress anyone to be enough. The people who truly love you will accept you for your essence, not your image. And those who don't, their opinion was never your responsibility anyway. Every day, we waste so much energy trying to meet invisible standards. We post pictures for likes, say things for applause, make choices to please others. But in doing so, we silence our own voice. We forget who we really are beneath all the masks. The truth is, the need for validation comes from fear. The fear of being rejected, of being misunderstood, of not belonging. But once you learn to love yourself, that fear starts to fade. You realize that belonging begins within. You belong to yourself first, and that's the strongest belonging of all. Let me share a simple story. A young artist once showed her painting to her teacher. The teacher said, "It's good, but it could be better." She took the painting to her friends who said, "It's nice, but the colors are too dull." She showed it to her parents who said, "Maybe art isn't a stable career." One by one, their opinions crushed her spirit, and she stopped painting altogether. Years later, she stumbled upon that same painting in her old drawer. As she looked at it, she smiled. It wasn't perfect, but it was hers. Every brushstroke carried her heart, her emotion, her truth. And in that moment, she realized she didn't need anyone to tell her it was beautiful. She just needed to believe it herself. When you seek validation, you hand over your power. You allow others to decide whether you should feel good about yourself or not. And that's dangerous because people's opinions change like the weather. One day they praise you, the next day they criticize you. If your self-worth depends on their approval, you'll be constantly chasing a moving target. But when your confidence comes from within, no storm can shake it. You become unshakable, untouchable, unstoppable. In daily life, this applies everywhere. Maybe you're at work and your boss never appreciates your efforts. Maybe you're in a relationship where you constantly seek attention to feel secure. Maybe you're surrounded by people who make you feel like you're not doing enough. Remember, their silence doesn't define your worth. Their recognition isn't your certificate. You are worthy, whether they see it or not. You are enough, even without applause. There's a beautiful saying, a lion doesn't turn around when a dog barks. Why? Because a lion knows who it is. It doesn't need validation from noise. The same goes for you. You don't need to defend your dreams to people who can't see your vision. You don't need to prove your kindness, your strength, or your intelligence. Just live it. Your life itself will be your loudest proof. Sometimes, the people who don't validate you are actually doing you a favor because they force you to validate yourself. Think about it. If everyone always praised you, you'd never learn how to find confidence within. But when you're ignored, when you're doubted, when you're underestimated, that's when you discover your real power. You learn to clap for yourself when no one else does. You learn to trust your instincts, your choices, your timing. That's how true self-belief is born. Let's imagine another scene. A woman starts her own small business. In the beginning, no one believes in her idea. People tell her she's wasting her time, that it won't work. But she keeps going quietly, day after day, improving, learning, and growing. Years later, the same people who once doubted her now admire her success. What changed? Not them. They always had opinions. What changed was her. She stopped needing their approval. She built her own validation through effort, consistency, and faith. When you stop seeking validation, you become free. Free to fail, free to grow, free to be imperfect. You realize that your worth is not up for debate. It doesn't rise with compliments or fall with criticism. It just is. You start to live with authenticity, and authenticity is magnetic. People are drawn to those who are comfortable in their own skin, who speak with confidence, who don't chase approval because they already know their value. Remember this, validation from others is temporary. Validation from within is eternal. External validation feeds your ego, but internal validation feeds your soul. When you find peace within yourself, no opinion can disturb you. When you know your purpose, no rejection can break you. You'll start to smile not because others approve, but because you approve of yourself. And that's the most powerful place a person can live from. So from today, stop looking for applause. Stop waiting for someone to tell you that you're doing great. Tell yourself. Be your own cheerleader. Celebrate your quiet victories. Value your small steps. Compliment your own progress. Because you don't need the world to clap for you when your soul already knows its worth. The moment you stop seeking validation, you step into your true power, and in that power, you become unstoppable.